this video, you will rethink whether the devil truly exists or not. Because what we call the devil has not always been what we imagine today. A red, horned, shadowy creature lurking in the darkness. Sometimes it was a fear, sometimes an idea, sometimes a disease, and sometimes simply the name people gave to the chaos inside themselves. Throughout history, humanity tried to make sense of the unknown by giving it a name, a form, a story. When ancient people saw storms, lightning, plagues, droughts, or sudden death, they searched for an explanation. And what they could not understand, they turned into a supernatural force. Over thousands of years, this force evolved, changed shape, and today we call it the devil. But its roots reach all the way back to the earliest days of civilization. Our first stop in history is Mesopotamia, the cradle of humanity, where the Tigris and Euphrates rivers gave birth to writing, cities, laws, and organized belief systems. As early as 4000 to 3000 BCE, the Sumerians and Akkadians already described dark, destructive forces. But for them, the devil was not a specific character. It was a name for the invisible forces that caused illness, ruined crops, brought nightmares, or disturbed mental peace. In Sumerian texts, beings such as Utukku, Alu, and Giddim appear frequently. One of them, Alu, was believed to enter a person's sleep, sit on their chest, and prevent them from moving. Today, we call this sleep paralysis. But thousands of years ago, it was seen as an attack from the world of spirits. In Sumerian belief, evil wasn't simply a monster. It was the disruption of nature's balance. They believed the universe consisted of order and chaos, and humans lived between those forces, constantly tested by their own weaknesses. In this sense, the Sumerian concept of evil was not only religious, but also deeply psychological. They believed that when humans lost control of themselves through anger, jealousy, or fear, they became vulnerable to these dark influences. As time passed, these ideas transitioned into Akkadian culture. Akkadian texts mention the word shaitanu, meaning one who causes discord, one who misleads, or one who confuses. This word later evolved into the Hebrew Satan, and eventually into the name we use today. In Akkadian belief, these harmful beings were like the wind, invisible, unpredictable, and capable of disturbing human life. They were blamed for strange behaviors, sudden deaths, or unexplained illnesses. What we now see as natural psychology or medicine was, at the time, attributed to mysterious dark forces. When civilization advanced, the concept moved into the Hebrew scriptures around 1000 BCE. Here, Satan did not yet refer to a demonic ruler of hell. Instead, it meant the accuser, the challenger, the one who tests humans. This was a major shift. Unlike earlier civilizations, the Hebrew tradition saw the devil not as a force that destroys nature, but as a force that challenges human morality and choices. The devil was a test, not a monster, a symbol of human struggle with temptation and conscience. With the rise of Christianity, the idea transformed again. By the 4th century CE, Christian theology declared that Satan was a fallen angel, Lucifer, who rebelled against God. During the Dark Ages, when Europe faced plagues, wars, famine, and fear, the devil became a symbol of everything unpredictable. The Church used the idea of Satan not only to explain suffering, but also to shape society. If people feared the devil, they followed the rules. They confessed, obeyed, and avoided sinful behavior. Thus, the devil became both a spiritual figure and a social tool. In Islam, the concept evolved yet again. According to the Quran, Iblis is not an equal enemy of God, but a creature who refused to bow to Adam out of arrogance. More importantly, in Islamic belief, Satan cannot force humans to do anything. He can only whisper, suggest, and tempt. The responsibility always remains with humans. This adds a profound psychological dimension. The true battlefield of good and evil is inside the human mind, not outside. As science developed in the modern era, psychology began to reinterpret ancient ideas. The amygdala, a small structure in the brain, controls fear, aggression, impulsive reactions, and emotional instability. When a person loses control, becomes consumed by hatred, jealousy, greed, or rage, the brain's chemistry shifts. Modern psychology argues that ancient people used the devil to describe behaviors and feelings they didn't understand. It was easier to externalize guilt than to confront inner conflict. Meanwhile, some individuals throughout history went beyond belief and began to embrace the concept of the devil. This gave birth to Satanism. Satanism, in its earliest modern form, emerged in the intellectual circles of Europe as a rebellion against traditional religion. They rejected the strict rules of Christianity and instead worshipped human desire, freedom, and physical pleasure. When Anton LaVey established the Church of Satan in 1966, he did not worship a literal devil. His Satan was a symbol of independence, rebellion, and human instincts. But darker branches of Satanism do exist, where groups perform rituals and view Satan as a real spiritual entity. Even today, underground circles and online communities keep these beliefs alive. After thousands of years, one message remains unchanged across all cultures, religions, and scientific theories. The devil is not always a creature. It is often a mirror, a reflection of the darkest parts of the human soul. There is a truth humanity has carried for thousands of years. People have always searched for the devil somewhere outside themselves, in the darkness, in the unseen, in distant myths. Yet the cruelest, most relentless devil is not an external creature at all. The real devil lives within us. Sometimes, a person creates such a powerful enemy from their own fears, their own wounds, their own shadows, that the only name left to give it is the devil. It is not a being made of fire, nor a creature that stalks people at night. It is the anger we suppress, the greed we feed, the envy we hide, the darkness we refuse to admit, those old familiar shadows we fail to defeat inside ourselves. The wars that shaped history, the massacres, the cruelty, the endless bloodshed. None of these were commanded by a supernatural entity. Behind all of this stood the darkness crafted by human hands. Political ambition, hunger for power, the desire for control, hatred swelling until it drowns reason. These are the sparks within us that grow into flames and become the devil we fear. To destroy the devil, we do not need to battle an outside force. Our battlefield is within. Every time we choose to harm someone, every time we remain silent in the face of injustice, every time we ignore the pain of another for our own benefit, we help the devil inside us grow stronger. But each moment we choose kindness over cruelty, justice over convenience, integrity over corruption, we weaken that darkness. Sometimes, the smallest spark of goodness within a person can burn away the greatest shadow. And in the end, one truth remains. It is not a person's religion, ethnicity, race, or culture that defines who they truly are. It is their conscience. A strong conscience can fight and subdue any darkness, any inner demon. That shadow, The devil created by our own thoughts and desires can only be defeated by the light of conscience. If we strengthen that inner light, if we learn to distinguish right from wrong, if we choose compassion over cruelty, then we destroy the thing people have feared for centuries. Because the devil does not exist outside of us, it survives only as long as we give it breath. The moment we silence it, it ceases to exist.